Let's talk about him and hers. HIMS is the stock symbol for this one. Huge news today. It teamed up with one of its rivals, and as a result, you had a huge move to the upside. Now, one of the questions that I got in the trading block today is like, why did it fade so hard despite the fact that it was such good news? It was up 35% at one point, actually 33 to be exact, and then it came all the way about down to where it was only up 23 or so percent on the day. Why is that? Why did that happen? And I would point to you to look at the AVWAP. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide some technical analysis and insight why we did see that fading and a little bit of the trading psychology behind that, and also just give you some technical analysis on this one for going forward. So let's go ahead and get into that right now. So what I want to do is I want to look at where the volume really started to pick up some steam. And you go back to February here, and it picked up a lot of volume, and the volume has been pretty strong ever since, especially when you look at it from today's perspective. Get this box lined up here so you can see it a little bit better. But this has been a strong area of support for the stock. So a lot of buying interest, and it also runs in conjunction with this run up here back in January. So a lot of people started getting long on this one when the buying started to increase. And as the volume started to increase, so did the number of people that own this stock. And then, of course, you had the huge fade going back from 72 all the way back down to 24. So it loses like almost 60% of its value. Actually, it lost more than 60% of its value, but nonetheless, a ton of its value. And I put this anchored VWAP here where it all started, where the frenzy started, the volume starts to build up. And notice what it did today. It went right up against this AVWAP level. Now, why is that significant? Because as people were getting into it, they held, and then they had the rug pulled out from underneath them. And when that rug pulled out from underneath them, they started getting underwater on their stock. AVWAP is your anchored volume weighted average price. So it's the average price that has been paid for these shares going all the way back to January. And right now it sits at around that $38 mark. Where did we get up to today? We got up to about $38, $37.94 to be exact. People started getting back to break even to where their average price was at, which is what this AVWAP represents. And they were bailing. They're like, you know what? My average price is around 38. I've seen it get down as low as 24. I've been extremely underwater on this. Now that we got some gains coming in, or I'm recovering my losses, I want to get out. There's a tendency among traders that when they've suffered significant losses, if you have a chance to get out at break even, you take it. And that's what you have here. You have traders wanting to get out of this stock because they got back to break even based off of what we're seeing on this anchored VWAP. Now, let's look at it from a weekly standpoint because I think it tells a pretty interesting picture here as well. We'll leave up the anchored VWAP, but you have this head and shoulders pattern that is forming. So you got a head, you got a left shoulder, you got a huge head, and then you got a right shoulder. And that confirms right here at 24. Now, I don't necessarily, because based off of textbooks, it would say that the target price down below would be like the difference between the lows of the right shoulder subtracted from the highs of the right shoulder. You do that, it's got to go down, into negative territory for that to be fulfilled. And of course, no, that's not going to happen. So what I would look for, though, is a break of the support level, changing the tune and the character of this market, because this is a key support level that goes all the way back even to mid-2024. If you go back to June 2024, this level is held, and it had some resistance there before in November. So resistance in mid-2024, resistance in late 2024, and then when it finally broke through, it acted as support. So if that confirms to the downside, that would be a huge issue. You also have this rising trend line going back to 2023. We'll draw that real quick. This is also probably where I would see it coming back down to if it did break that support level. Now, to the upside, going back to the daily, this is really just like a FOMO play here. If you believe it's going to go higher, you got to kind of trade it like you did back in January 2025, but you got to be willing to take the risk that the rug is going to get pulled out from underneath you, and then you're going to find yourself in the same position that traders found themselves in February, March, and April of this year, where they were grossly underwater. So you have to be very, very careful about chasing these things, even though it might seem like a lock. Eventually, the roosters come home to roost, and the rug gets pulled out from underneath you, and so you don't want to be caught into that. Remember, the people who really benefit off of this is the ones that got into it back in April, earlier this month, that played this breakout that confirmed yesterday. And even though it confirmed yesterday, it still gave back a lot of those gains, shedding some doubt on the sustainability of that breakout. Then you get the big news, and it finally gives traders a big return. But in the process of that, if you start trying to chase after it now, your reward risk is greatly skewed against you. So you want to make sure that you're thinking about your portfolio, your long-term sustainability in your trading, and how long you can really survive if you keep chasing after every big move that takes place in the stock market. If you enjoyed this video, I'd encourage you to like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments below what's your take on HIMS. Are you buying it here, or are you booking profits like a lot of people did today after the open? Thank you guys, and God bless.